Good evening, brothers, sisters, and siblings, and welcome back to the Vibe Too Many podcast. Hopefully this video actually goes out. I, of course, am your host, KJ Collelo, joined as always by...
Ashton Byrne, with my fingers crossed that this episode actually goes out this time.
Yeah, okay, let's start with that. Let's start with the segment.
Let's get into it, KJ Collelo. What happened with the last video?
Let's start with the segment I have on our outline just written as Kurt's various fuck-ups. So I said it in our last uploaded video, the Chris interview. Ashton and I sat down, had literally one of our favorite conversations about some stuff. It was topical, it was great, it was emotional. And then the drive I was working on broke. This fucking thing had all of the stuff on it. Not only all of the footage for the last episode, but also all of the footage we had ever gotten for this podcast was on that drive. The intro for the podcast, the little movie theater thing, that was on this drive. Literally everything I've worked off for this podcast was on that drive, and now it's broken. So I was a little disheartened.
By the way, I got a message.
Yeah, at 1
right as soon as I was making a thumbnail.
For
that video.
Creating a thumbnail.
And as soon as I finished, I had a final sketch done, and then KJ was like, "Hey, this is great. Want to know the bad news?" And I was like, "I'm getting fired." And then he was like, "No, all the footage is gone. We're not doing this fucking episode anymore."
I do have a backup drive now. We're all safe.
Okay.
So that fuck up leads me into the next fuck up. If you are a Spotify listener, you might have noticed that a couple episodes didn't go live on Spotify. I was just having some issues with it where it would get to 99% and then just be upload failed. And I was going to then just upload those when I can. And then I lost all of that footage too. So sorry. But you can always...
Damn.
Those are live on YouTube. It is Robin and I talking about Daredevil, and then Ash and I talking about The Boys. It's been a rough week.
Yeah.
Now that all that housekeeping's out of the way and we could stop talking about how much of a fuck-up I am, we do have our pledge from last week, even though it was 2 weeks ago. And it was to read some comic books we are not vaguely familiar with, and I know for a fact Ashton didn't do it, so everyone boo Ashton and not me now.
Didn't do it. I was busy. I was busy doing the other pledge. I can't even talk about because the video isn't out.
Yeah,
everyone boo Kurt.
I was trying to... Ashton said he was going to find aliens.
And now you'll never know.
Ashton's like, I have certified proof here, but now you can never see it.
I can't. Because you won't know the context.
Yeah. I, however, did read comic books, which is, I'm going to say, an equally hard pledge than finding proof of sentient alien life. So I've been reading David Walker's Luke Cage run from 2017. It's pretty solid. I'm enjoying it. I never really read a lot of Luke Cage in my life before. I'm a huge Daredevil fan, so I'd read his team-ups with Daredevil. On the day we were recording that episode, I went to a convention and I got to buy batarangs. I own batarangs now, and these are throwing knives. They are actually sharp.
I'm scared that you have those.
Yeah.
I feel like you're
I've been
now
using
a
it
danger to yourself or others.
I've been using it to open packages and shit. So that brings us to this week's episode. The day you watch this, which is June 19th, a new Toy Story film comes out. And so we are talking about Toy Story today. I'm so fucking excited.
Yay.
I love Toy Story. I've been waiting to do this episode. The first thing I wrote...
Toy Story!
Starting with Toy Story, the very first one. The first thing I wrote is this movie fucks.
That's an accurate description.
It's just so good for no... It's such a conceptually simple concept, you know? When you are not in the room, your toys are alive. It's what every child has imagined in their life before. I would assume before this movie, too. I've only lived in a world with these movies, but still. I used to have like friendships with my toys. Because what if they were alive? I wanted them to like me. Toy Story is this idea every child has had about their toys coming to life, but it's just executed so fucking perfectly to a point where I feel like a lot of major animated films now coming out of like Pixar and even DreamWorks and stuff like that, they don't take their ideas as seriously as they used to like this before.
There always has to be like a, wait, we're toys? And we're, oh my god, like, oh, this cannot be real type of like moment.
Yeah. Meanwhile, and like we'll get into it later, this film deals with some really heavy concepts that allows it to be enjoyable for the children in the room, the adults in the room, but it also, I feel like when children's movies tackle these more adult conceits and everything, it helps with child development rather than just being like, we're gophers, but we talk, you know, or whatever the fuck Hoppers actually was.
It doesn't talk, yeah, it definitely doesn't, like, talk down.
No, and it helps that every aspect of this movie is taken seriously. Like, we are making a good movie that just so happens to be for kids, rather than we're making a kids movie so we can cut some edges.
It helps that this is from a time period before... Because I know with recent animation, there's been a trend where projects will kind of, like, get axed or get a lot of, like, studio interference.
Yeah.
Because they really want a specific market. Like, if a market specifically for a show has too many young girls, they will cancel it because they think that young girls aren't a good enough market audience for a show, an animated series, because girls don't watch cartoons.
Exactly. I think it helps that this was the first movie of a new studio. Like, now we look at Pixar as this giant, you know?
Because they have the Disney money. They have the Disney
checks. The Disney money. They are, you know, Pixar is the go-to when it comes to animation, although for the last few years I don't think that's necessarily true. When Ash and I were growing up, you know, if there was a new Pixar movie, man, you had to go see it. Whether or not you were a child or an adult or, you know, this or that or the other thing. But part of that is these beginnings when you had, like, again, Toy Story was Pixar's first film. Like, they weren't a giant. They just
already knocked it out of the fucking park.
They had to focus on making a great movie, and they fucking did make a great movie. I think where Toy Story, like, really succeeds is it wasn't, like, made by committee. It was made to make the best possible story and make the best possible movie, and I feel like every aspect in it, they just nailed. I think the first thing I'll talk about is, oh my god, the music in this is so goddamn good. Like, the three main songs in this movie is Strange Things, I'll Go Sailing No More, and You Got a Friend in Me. All of those are fucking great songs that are on my liked playlist that I listen to day to day.
Strange Things is a very good song.
Such a good song. And this is all done by Randy Newman, for those of you who don't know. It draws this very emotional connections to the scenes. Like, I'll Go Sailing No More is such just this beautiful song. It gives you this sense of, like, giving up in it, which is what happens in the movie. Strange Things with everything changing. I don't know how often I will listen to a song in a movie and just be like, oh, I love that. I want to listen to that all the time. And again, all three of these songs are on my liked playlist. The production on these songs with, like, the horns on them and everything, like, it's very clearly he was taking... It goes back to what I was saying about how they took Toy Story seriously. It's clear that he wasn't just like, oh, I'm writing a little song for a movie, let me just bang this out quick. No, they put time and effort into the production and writing of it all, you know?
Because you could just listen to them on their own.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I feel like some movie soundtracks, they'll have, like, their licensed songs. Like, I can't listen to any of the shit from, like, the first Suicide Squad.
Rather than just having, like, needle drops or, like, hey, let's have a pop star write a song for this movie, which they're doing for the new movie. They were like, let's find the right person to write the music for this. And they landed on Randy Newman.
Who's writing the pop song in the new movie?
Take a guess. If you had a guess.
Sabrina Carpenter?
No, close.
Pink Panthers?
Nope.
I don't think Pink Panthers was
someone I like less,
No.
because Pink Panthers kicks ass.
Like that.
You're getting there. Think tacky.
Katy Perry?
Nope. You're getting close. You're like dancing around it.
But I was... Okay.
Think more generic pop. If I had to ask you to name a pop star, the biggest pop star you can.
Lady Gaga?
Even bigger.
Taylor Swift?
For a lot of new animated films in general, they kind of look at the pop charts and they'd be like, who can write a song for this movie? Sometimes that works out because you'll get Pharrell doing the Despicable Me movies. But when you go back to like the original Toy Story, it's literally just Randy Newman like being like, what song is going to work best? Also, something they take very seriously in this movie is all of the side characters feel like fully fledged characters in this. They have personality. Characters that appear for one line have fully fledged personalities.
You know who each person is.
Sometimes.
And you barely ever see them.
There is one of my favorite characters in any movie ever is in this movie, and he has one line. It is the shark that steals Woody's hat.
What's his one line?
Woody pops out of like the toy chest, and he's like, "Where's my hat?" And then the shark comes up wearing Woody's hat, and he goes, "I'm Woody. Howdy, howdy, howdy." That's it. And I fucking love it. That line cracks me up.
You definitely do, like, resonate with these characters. They get you to, like, really emotionally connect with them with so few lines.
Yeah.
There's definitely movies where you get more screen time with characters and you emotionally connect with them less.
Yeah, 100%.
So it is impressive.
These feel like...
I will say, you emotionally connect with them positively or negatively, and this is going to go into my watching Toy Story as a kid.
Ashton, who's your least favorite Toy Story character?
I don't fucking like Mr. Potato Head. Here's my thing about Mr. Potato Head. Here's my thing. With Mr. Potato Head, he always... And, like, there's moments in this movie where he has a problem with Woody, and Woody's being an asshole. He is. I also like that Woody's a fucking asshole. He's being a fucking asshole. He's selfish. And, like, that's fair to call him out on it. But it's the fact that Mr. Potato Head is always looking to have a fucking problem with somebody. He's always looking to have a problem with somebody. He's always looking to start a fight with somebody. At the end, if he wasn't trying to just start a fight and just calm the fuck down and listen, then all that whole chase wouldn't have had to happen. And they would have been saved. But Mr. Potato Head fucked everything up. And everyone was like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? What does Mr. Potato Head do? This is his fault. He did it. He did, and he never takes accountability. He never once says, I'm sorry. He never once says, what do I do? It's always everybody else's fucking problem. And he's only concerned about himself and then, like, cracking his potato wife. And that's fucking it. He is selfish. And also, he looks like my uncle.
I love Mr. Potato Head for basically all of the reasons Ashton said. He's such a piece of shit.
It got on my nerves as a kid. It gets on my nerves as an adult.
He's such a piece of shit. It's awesome. Before we started recording, I told Ashton, like, he definitely stormed the Capitol on January 6th.
Oh, absolutely.
That's Don Rickles, famous insult comic.
His voice is good. Mr. Potato Head was, like, really pissing me off.
Here's how great the characters are. Very young Kurt would develop a crush on one of them, and then a 26-year-old Kurt would rewatch this movie and be like, man, she doesn't have a lot of lines, but I have such a crush on Bo Peep.
Interesting.
She's very forward, and I like that. And also, it's Annie Potts. Like, they
all have good voices.
You have a friend like
and
him.
They're very, like, distinguishable.
Yes. They are all character voices. Even, like, I fucking hate Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Damn good Buzz Lightyear.
He is really good in this.
Yeah, he's emoted more in this movie than he ever has in anything else.
I think it's interesting that this is also from, like, a different era where movie animated characters weren't just, like, whatever celebrity was popular at the time.
Yeah.
Like, they were actually given, like,
Tom Hanks.
voice actors. But it feels more purposeful. I feel like you don't really see that. Like, occasionally you'll get your, like...
Tom
Daniel
Hanks.
Kaluuya as Spider-Punk, or like things like that, but you don't really get like
It still
that
has to
as much
match.
anymore.
Like, it has to match the
Yeah.
character. Tom Hanks was a pretty big name at this time. Tim Allen was to a certain extent too, but those were like your main characters. Those are your selling points. To have like John Ratzenberger, who was a TV actor. Tim Allen was also a TV actor at the time. You have Wallace Shawn, who's a great character actor. He had already done The Princess Bride, but like he was never a leading man or anything. They got a lot of character actors for this.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Annie Potts, I
feel like
love.
the character actors and the voice actors have been increasingly underappreciated.
They can just get Chris Evans to voice Buzz Lightyear, That's not a slight to Chris Evans, who I'm a fan of, but like he's not a voice actor,
No.
That's a whole
Absolutely
new talent. Especially because they did a fucking Star Command show in the 2000s.
They did a Star Command show,
and it was Patrick Warburton.
Just like...
It was Patrick Warburton voice.
Yes.
It was amazing. That show is fucking incredible.
It is really funny. It's like a parody of like early Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, it's awesome. You should check it out. You, the general you, I know that Ashton just said he watched it. Another great thing in this movie, the fucking action set pieces are incredible. That end chase.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's so well done for an animated film too.
I remember like watching as a kid, and I would be like sweating watching it.
The shit
it's
is
intense.
Blowing up. They are flying through the air, falling with style. Like, it's just so well animated and well thought out and well storyboarded. They do something I always love in animated films when they like move the camera in certain angles and everything, rather than just have it being static. They have it more fluid, and I like that. It's always fun to move the camera when there's no actual camera. I think it's time to talk about the thing that drew me to this movie so much this time, and that is the utterly excellent main characters of this film. And I'm going to
assholes.
I'm going to warn the folks at home. Ash and I are going to get really in-depth and deep on a movie about toys that come to life.
Well, I think it wants you to.
Yeah, that's the, movies don't have to be mindless. Children's movies don't have to be mindless. All right, I think we start with Woody. It's amazing that they make you like Woody while he's still an asshole.
Yes.
Because we've all been there.
It has a lot of empathy.
Jealousy,
like what both him and Buzz are going through.
Jealousy is a very human reaction to things. We've all been jealous of people in one way or another, We've all felt like we were being replaced by something. And so we can kind of understand where Woody comes from in all of this. He has been the guy for so long. He is Andy's favorite toy. And then just to have his entire life shaken like that, there's a certain amount of empathy you can draw from that. Like, man, that is a shitty feeling,
He goes too far, but he also acknowledges that he went too far.
Yes. I mean, even when he knocks Buzz out of a window and everything. And one of the few justified Mr. Potato Head anger moments, although again, he is talking about hanging Woody. Even Slinky kind of gives up on Woody. Which Slinky's his faithful.
You both feel bad for Woody,
but you understand.
You kind of understand why. You understand why.
And then as he's going through like this rescue mission, you realize he's doing it just because he wants people to stop being mad at him, which is a selfish reason.
Yes.
Like he's still, even in trying to save Buzz, he's being selfish. It's not until towards the end of the film when he realizes he has to get Buzz to Andy because Andy loves Buzz and he wants Andy to be happy, that then they can, make it through the scenario. That is just such a well-written through line.
It feels very natural, too. I feel like a lot of movies struggle with that very natural, like, character progression, where it's like, you want them to get from point A to point B, but they're not really the way they get to there feels forced. Yeah. And this doesn't really feel
No.
forced. It feels very, like, natural the way that he goes from being very selfish to realizing, like, what's actually, like, important.
He has to learn to be selfless. He's never had to be selfless before. He's never had to sacrifice before.
He's been able to, like, kind of play the part. He's able to talk, but not actually have to walk the walk.
It's easy to say that you can't be selfish, you have to think for others. It's harder to do that, and Woody's never had to. He's always been Andy's favorite.
It's easy to tell other people that everything's going to be fine when everything's going to be fine for you.
Yeah, when you don't have that worry. And this is the part where maybe we get a little too deep in the toy movie. But for 60 years, predominantly conservative politicians, but I would say politicians across the board, have wanted to make the world more selfish. More me first. You have to look up for yourself. You have to look out for yourself. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, rise and grind, all that bullshit. And it's taken away a sense of community and looking after one another. That's something we talked about a lot when our very first episode. It goes to this, where Woody, who is, you know, for all intents and purposes, in charge of the toys of Andy's room, he can easily just be like, don't worry about this, that, and the other thing. But the second someone comes to challenge him, he gets all, you know, minorly homicidal. Eventually, he does learn to be that selfless person.
That whole thing with, like, community and being there for each other, he learns to do that with Sid's toys too.
Yeah, because he has
to in order to save Buzz.
He has an idea
he kind of has to
of
set
what
aside
they are.
his own biases. Yeah, based on, like, nothing, based on what they thought they observed.
And I will say, from here on out, Woody is way nicer to the toys around him after this movie.
Yes.
Like, if you see in Toy Story 2, he's much more caring than he was in Toy Story 1.
To the point where people kind of assume that naturally is his personality and not something he had to grow into. He has to make the observation and like take the initiative to grow, but he will still have, like, a support system there.
He came upon his growth himself, but he still has the system of very caring toys and also Mr. Potato Head. Going on to that, into the other main character, Buzz's story in this movie is one of my favorite stories in any movie, which I've said a lot this episode because I fucking love this movie.
It gets dark.
It gets philosophical. You're right. It gets dark. He gets drunk at one point, which is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. Buzz's journey is something that, if you are like me, you've experienced before. It's this journey through purpose and nihilism and absurdism. Because he starts, you know, he is part of Starkman. This is his mission. He has an inherent meaning. And the second he learns that that's a falsehood, he spirals into depression and nihilism. Everything he knows to this point is just that. He is on this mission. That is the only thing that matters. That is his life. And so he loses a part of himself. And this goes into one of my things where I fucking hate nihilism nowadays. I think it's harmful to assume there is a purpose. Because I will say, I was a nihilist until my mid-20s. And I'm 26, so it's quite recent that I have changed my mind on certain things. But I think the problem with nihilism is, I personally think there is no inherent meaning to life. But I think the problem with nihilism is they think that's a bad thing, and I think that's a good thing. There are no expectations. You can be whatever you want to be. And that's Buzz's journey. Is at the end, he starts to learn, like, no, there is no Star Command. I'm not here on this grand mission. But I can help this kid and this toy.
But this kid could be my Star Command.
Yeah, there is...
This is my crew. This is my family.
Even if it's just bringing others joy, I don't have to be sent on this mission from God, basically. I don't have to be, you know... There's something that people talk about now, main character syndrome, where people think they're the main character.
I feel like it also goes into... This is a journey that I feel like a lot of kids have when, like, they go out into the world and, like,
they learn that they're not the
they
only
want
ones.
to do something. They learn they're not the only ones. They learn that, like, life isn't, especially now, like, life isn't really what you expected it to be. Or it's even just, like, what do I even do? Like, what am I, like, what's my career? What do I want out of my life?
What am I supposed
How do I
to do?
even achieve that? What am I supposed to do?
And it's that supposed.
It's a journey that so many kids will eventually go on as they get older.
Mm-hmm.
And so seeing, like, it through Buzz and
through
him get
a
over it
kids
is,
movie,
like,
and I think
cathartic.
that's super important. I couldn't tell you if this was intentional or not, but I think it's super important that there is a movie that a children's movie that's like your greater gift or whatever might not be true, but that doesn't mean you're nothing. Life can be what you can make it. If it is simple as bringing somebody joy, you can do that. And again, the same way that when Woody learns to be selfless, that's how they wind up solving all of their problems. When Buzz lets go of that nihilism and learns, even if I'm just here to make one person happier, then I have to do everything I can to be able to do that. He takes that same, like, sociopathic dogma he had with Starkman and applies it to just making other people's lives better in this. And in Toy Story 2, you see, like, he is chasing after cars for Woody and shit. Like, his heart is the same in it. It is just now about something else. And I think that's very powerful to put in a kid's movie. So after Toy Story, this movie's wildly successful. It builds, like, an empire. Pixar, as we know it, is built because of how good Toy Story was. They did A Bug's Life, and then after that, they released one of the most unnecessary sequels I've ever seen. Toy Story so did not need a sequel. It is a near-perfect movie in itself. Yet Toy Story 2 is still fucking better. It's better!
It does capture that, like, feel-good, like, nostalgia.
Yeah, I used to watch this movie literally on repeat as a child. I would end it and then go back to the beginning.
Oh, yes. This one over the first one.
100%. This is a better movie, in my mind. The first Toy Story is near perfection. This movie is perfection. Everything I liked about Toy Story, this movie does better. Let's start with the characters, because a lot of times you introduce a lot of new characters in a movie, and some of them get, like, pushed to the side, and some of them aren't as memorable. Every single new character in Toy Story 2 is fucking great. They're, like, my favorite characters.
Yes.
Jessie, when you think of Toy Story, she's one of the first characters you think of.
Even Bullseye.
Bullseye's one of my favorite Toy Story characters of all time. I used to have a stuffed Bullseye. Jessie and Bullseye are, like, two, when you think of Toy Story, they are two of the characters you think. I would say right after Buzz and Woody, you think of Jessie.
Yes.
And she's in the sequel. And even, like, the side random characters, like, Wheezy is my man.
Wheezy? When he's like, it sounds like he's, like, dying of, like, he's been, like, declared terminal, like, cancer.
He's got cancer, man.
Like, he's like, yeah, this is the end of the line for me. It helps that they're very well designed.
Yes, the designs are great.
They blend into this world so well. And a lot of sequels where they have new characters, immediately, if they don't blend in, people can tell.
Jessie, Bullseye, Wheezy, Stinky Pete, they all fit this movie and Toy Story so well. And I would say it's also the voice acting.
Can we talk about how Woody gets indoctrinated into a cult?
So do we want to start?
That's what that is.
I wouldn't say it's a one-for-one. It's
tactics.
A cult. Yes, but they are.
It's cult tactics for sure.
Specifically through Pete. Which let's talk about Pete for a second. This series' first, like, real villain.
We've kind of had in more recent years an influx of twist villains to wavering success. But this was, like, one of the first and way before other people were doing it, and is way more successful. Because I remember watching this movie as a kid and being fucking flabbergasted that this guy was evil. You do not expect it.
When you're watching the show, Woody's Roundup, and all of these characters kind of
Literally,
mirror their characters, he is like
his voice changes.
Golly gee, set my bum on fire. And then he turns out to be like this fucking menacing sociopath. Toy Story has one of my favorite soundtracks ever, and so Toy Story was like, hey, what if we did it better? I don't have like a ranking of my favorite songs of all time, but if I had to guess, When She Loved Me is one of my 10 favorite songs of all time.
That scene.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
Just so emotional. This is an incredibly sad song on like 2 different levels. The first level is, we all remember playing with our toys as a little kid, and it makes us remember those toys. Like our favorite toys. As an adult, this song hits on such a level of like, we've all been in relationships, whether it be romantic or platonic, that just kind of end. And you remember those fond memories of being loved. And that's when, at 26 years old, that's what gets to me really hard. And it's another example of Randy Newman picking the perfect song for the movie. Like, rather than just being like, here's a pop song for the big hit movie, it is, no, let's boil this down to what we're trying to say in here. We've all experienced this. We're not toys who have been donated to charity, but we've all experienced loss and almost this feeling of someone giving up on you. The hesitation to let it happen again. And also bringing Sarah McLachlan, she does still have like this emotional voice. To bring her on and do this song for it is such a good choice. Woody feels less than because he's ripped, so he's not, fit anymore. Andy will stop loving him because of this. But you've got a friend in him, no matter what happens, even at our darkest moments. The people that love us will always love us.
This is also going into, like, what I was talking about earlier with, like, the cult tactics, because that is kind of a part of cult tactics.
You're different. They're gonna
isolating you from your support system. That, we love you over here. They don't love you like we love you, so you should cut them off.
Yeah. It is... Again, there's so much emotion throughout both of these movies, but I feel especially Toy Story 2.
Here's my rant about Al. As a comic artist, collectors and comic artists have this weird, complicated, symbiotic relationship where a lot of comic artists do depend on and appreciate the existence of collectors when artists like old Marvel, DC, how they would work with penciling and inking and coloring, and it's all in different stages. You can do each paper individually and then sell each individual part to collectors so that they can have it, so they can show how the process works and understand how the process works in their own collection. Then there's the speculator market. These people suck. Okay? That is what Big Al is. I fucking hate these guys. This was especially big in, like, I remember the 90s to 2000s, the comic speculator market got, like, fucking huge, and it was really fucking annoying because then, like, all of the big comic companies were leaning into it, where it's like, you'll buy, like, a cover issue, and then there's, like, 14 different variants. Also, you can buy, like, a different one for, like, a collector's edition. But they won't read it. They'll grade a comic, it's a 9.8 because nobody fucking opened it and read it. It's not being loved, but it's also, some of these issues are rare. They're rare, rare, rare. They cost hundreds of dollars for some fuck to buy it, put it in a fucking sealed vacuum chamber, and put it on a shelf to go, oh, look, I got this. Like, who gives a fuck? Give it to somebody who could actually not only read it, but love it when it's moments of very pivotal comic book history. Like, for example, the first ever Static Shock costs, like, hundreds of dollars to buy. Somebody could actually be reading that and getting an understanding of black-led superhero stories in the comic book industry. But because some fucking collector wants a copy to sit and collect dust on their shelf and not fucking open it, it costs hundreds of fucking dollars to buy. He steals Woody to donate him to a museum.
To sell to a museum.
To sell
not donate.
To a museum. Yes, no, you're right. It was to sell because he constantly is saying how he's going to make all this money, which is so
He's
satisfying.
He's doing it for profit.
At the end, which is also shitty, which is so satisfying that at the end, he loses all of it. Fuck that guy.
Oh, that's so funny. The commercial at the end.
Also, with him, like, selling the toys to a museum, this is something also... Museums are very underfunded. Some of them, a lot of times, because they have very limited options with funding and access to funding, the way that they gain materials it kind of puts them in a place of desperation. And so there's things like this where it's this piece of shit guy who thinks he can just steal a toy and sell it to this museum. And the museum probably would have bought it. But they don't really care about the ethics of that. Do the ends justify the means? And a lot of these places are not really asking these questions.
Man, it's almost like museums probably shouldn't be privately owned.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
So we talked briefly on kind of the story of this movie, but again, Woody goes through such a good character arc that I alluded to in the last one, starts in Toy Story 1, where he becomes so, like, nice to everyone that he meets these new people and he feels bad stopping them from what they want.
They're, like, alone. And you feel bad that they're alone and he's not really sure what to do. I feel like it also, it doesn't help that he's kind of indoctrinated into a cult.
Yeah.
Through Pete.
He's literally shown how great he is. Like, they almost worship him.
They worship him and they say, you don't need anyone else but right here. So it helps that he's kind of, when they say the museum, a place where they will worship him. What?
This movie's kind of just Midsommar.
Basically. But, like, a different ending.
He is,
like the good ending.
Woody has been damaged and meets these new people
emotionally,
who are willing to...
yes.
Well, you know, with Woody, it's physical. It's a physical thing, and that leads to him thinking he is less than. That Andy will stop loving him because he's damaged, which kind of mirrors Danny in Midsommar. Woody is dragged to meet these new people who almost immediately dot on him and worship him.
Yes.
And so it leads him to making some not ideal choices.
To the point
this
where
is
he's
Midsommar.
Willing to down to clown, even though what they're doing makes zero fucking sense whatsoever.
Woody's, like, physical damage there kind of leads him to thinking he's less than. He has to learn the same thing Buzz learned in part 1, that people will love you in spite, not even in spite, but partially because of your shortcomings, I guess. That wouldn't quite count as that, but
the fact that,
like, when you love somebody, you love every part of them, even if the stuff that gets on your nerves, you're accepting it. And then he brings these people who are so worried about not being loved, who are shipping themselves off to a museum because then everyone will love him. He invites them and goes like, Andy will love you guys too. You are deserving of this love.
He will love you always. He won't always be there, but boy will it feel good.
You can bring him
while it
joy.
Lasts. Yes.
Exactly. He teaches that lesson. Woody almost gets this hit of nihilism that Buzz had in Toy Story 1, where he thinks he's less than because of his damage.
They have almost an opposite character arc.
Again, I think it's important to show this to kids, too. Like, you do not have to disparage your own perceived shortcomings. So those of you watching might be sitting here like, oh, they talked about the first 2 Toy Story movies, and this video's getting, on in time. How are they going to fit the next 2 in? Well, that's the funny part. We're not. Because we're doing our first ever part 2.
Doing a 2-parter, baby.
Our first ever Vibe Too Many part 2. Not next week. We're talking about something else next week. The week after that, we're going to come back talk about Toy Stories 3 and 4. Do you have any final thoughts about the first 2 Toy Story films?
Good movie.
Great movies. 2 great movies. Anyway, we ready for a question?
What's the question of the day?
This is one I'm actually very interested in to hear from you. What was your favorite toy when you were growing up?
So I had this big, it was basically Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon.
I love Toothless.
But it was a giant dragon with the wings. So you would press one of its scales, and it would the wings would spread out. It had the tail. It had the fire. And you could shoot and everything.
Ooh.
And it was big. It was a big thing, and I would fly it around and shit, and it was so cool. I also I ate McDonald's for several weeks to collect all of the first How to Train Your Dragon, McDonald's tie-in toys. I collected all of them, and they used to sit on my shelf.
I have a very important favorite toy growing up. The day I was born, I was gifted this stuffed dog, and I named him Arf because my older brother would come to the crib and just go, Arf, Arf, with the dog. And Arf had a very profound effect on my life. Arf is very important to me. I refer to Arf as another living being. It really was my favorite thing. The tragic part of this story is when I was a little kid, when my parents had gotten divorced, we were moving, and I had lost Arf around that point.
Oh.
So he became mythological after that. Remembering him. There was mourning. There was genuine mourning from little me. When I want to say I was 16 years old, my brother had called me outside. It was like, yo, come here. And my mother and my brother are outside, and they hand me a package, and I open it, and it's a new Arf. And so the look on my fucking face. All right, so now we get onto our pledge, and I have a pretty solid pledge here. There's so much talk about friendship in these movies. Ostensibly, they are about friendship. I think it's time that I go support a friend with something. Next week, a friend will be supported.
Yes!
But only one. The rest I'm letting down. Intentionally. Before we get out of here, I should say, we should all give starting with this episode now, a big congratulations to Ashton, who is now our thumbnail artist. Anyway, Ash, thanks for coming, hanging out, talking about some toys and Toy Story.
It's been a vibe.
Perhaps too many. I've been KJ Collelo.
I'm Ashton Byrne.
Bella ciao, y'all.
Bella ciao.